Hello and welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Ritchie. I'm the CEO of Senior Savvy, and every Tuesday you can find me here interviewing people that are engaged in age tech. And today I've got a wonderful guest to bring on the show. But first, let me go ahead and intro. Okay, well, I want to welcome to the show. I've got Davis Park here. And Davis, welcome to Tech Tuesday. I am so glad that you're here. Y'all should know we had our fair share of technical issues leading up to this, but
We did.
We persevered, and you're here today. Welcome. Please tell us what you do with Front Porch.
Sure. Thank you, Abbie. So Front Porch, we are a senior living provider, nonprofit based out of California. We operate and manage about 53 communities throughout the state, both in full service retirement, senior living, and affordable housing. All told, we touch about 7,000 lives daily. My role within Front Porch is overseeing the Center for Innovation and Wellbeing, and we're tasked with looking at innovative uses of technology to help people age well and thrive. And we look at everything from virtual reality to robotic pets to telehealth, telemedicine. We're really excited about voice technologies like the Amazon Alexa, or integrating these with smart home kind of features to really help support our overall aging and independence. And we do a lot of pilot testing. So we're excited about almost everything under the sun, so long as it focuses on meeting needs. So we do a lot of pilot testing, and then we look for scalability opportunities.
Wonderful. There's so much within there that we could talk about, whether it's telehealth or robotics. I love it all. But today I really want to focus on how we can use technology to support our workforce. So what is one technology that you're using right now, or several, we can get to them all, that you are absolutely passionate about that's supporting your staff and supporting senior living workforce?
Yeah, our caregivers, both formal and informal, are all important to us and to our older adult communities. And one of the technologies that we're really excited about is Embodied Labs. And Embodied Labs is a virtual reality empathy training tool that's really specifically designed for people to really better understand what's like to live as an older adult, live through what's like to be an older adult with certain conditions, whether it be Alzheimer's, whether it's Alzheimer's or living with hearing and vision loss. And like when we did our pilot testing, we found that that the amount of people who actually understood what it's like to live as an older adult through hearing and sound loss increased like almost by twofold, like 180%. And we're like, wow, this is amazing. And it's so cutting edge. And we found it also as a powerful recruiting tool as well. And when our caregivers go through this training, we see tremendous engagement and a real powerful understanding about what's like to be embodied in the body of an older adult living through some of these issues.
What is it like? Can you tell us?
Yeah, so one example is is living with macular degeneration. And if you know anything about macular degeneration, there's like a very big dark spot in front of you, so you can't see anything in front of you. And when you're viewing the experience of someone living with this, with the VR headset, you can't see in front of you. So what you end up having to do is kind of turning your head. So what this teaches caregivers that you don't put food, you don't plate someone food in front of that person, and you need to kind of put to their side because that they're using peripheral vision to see what they're trying to eat. And it doesn't mean that they're ignoring you. When they turn their head, they're actually trying to look at you through their side peripheral vision. So these are some of the important little things that people pick up when they go through this sort of Embodied Labs experience.
Tell me more, because I am in the thick of this with my students, with my clients all the time, and I have worked with a lot of people with macular degeneration and never understood it in the way that you just explained it. What about a hearing loss or a memory loss?
Yeah, so they also have what they call labs, and these are basically learning modules that take a user through, again, the experience of someone who's living with these conditions, and they put you in a situation and all these experiences where that person is limited in interacting and engaging with like a family member, a caregiver, with a doctor, physician. And so one of them is Lewy body disease, and they talk about what it's like for someone to live through this, and and then so you're living through an episode, and like you're actually grabbing through what you think are like butterflies or fireflies around you, and then the caregiver says, what are you doing? Like, what are you swatting at, right? And so they don't see this, but
Mhm.
you as a person who's embodying that experience actually experiences it. And so it kind of gives you as a caregiver some pause and think, oh, that's what she's doing, or that's why he's doing what he's doing. And it really kind of looks at how you address it in a compassionate way. And so, you see the caregiver actually sitting down with you. It's like, yeah, mom, let me try to get rid of those fireflies with you, And so you just kind of you empathize with them, and you play through that caregiving experience to really help address their anxiety, and help them feel okay, about what they're going through.
Oh, that's so vital. Because it's one thing to just say, yeah, yeah, I know. And it's another thing to really embody it and then be able to reflect on that in in the moment. So I love that.
Absolutely.
What are some other cases of embodied labs that are supporting caregivers?
So there's another module, another lab, on the LGBTQ experience, living the life of someone who also is going through social isolation and loneliness, and one of that second module, that one that I just mentioned about loneliness and social isolation, it's a very, very powerfully moving experience. And we saw one of our caregivers like go through the experience for the first time. It was actually an interview like on CNN, and we saw her come out of it, and she had tears in her eyes. And this is someone who's been doing this for like decades, like working with people, working with older adults, and she thought that she really understood what it's like to live and to be lonely. But there's something about this that just really drove it home
Mm,
for her. And one of the things about virtual reality and embodied labs that the founder Carrie Shaw really talks a lot about is about like how you could see training videos, and you can have someone come up and explain to you like what it's like to be living as an older adult through these conditions, but to actually feel it yourself and to experience it through virtual reality actually becomes a part of you.
yeah.
And when it becomes a part of you, it helps to better inform you in terms of how you empathize with someone who may be living with these challenges.
Amazing. I'm happy. I'm happy to know about that, because it's just going to help us serve the people we love more. What about Eversound and Rendezvous? Have you been able to experience the support that those services
Oh,
provide?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And Eversound and Rendezvous, we have white papers on our website, that talk about the piloting process that we've gone through, and we've researched these solutions very, very deeply. Eversound was a really exciting solution that we had looked at, and delved into when we were exploring people living with low hearing. And one of our concerns was, how do we engage with our residents who are not coming to meetings, to town hall discussions, to
Yeah.
workshops, because they feel horrible about not being able to hear, and they don't even bother, which then leads to social isolation and social disconnectedness, and loneliness. And so we want to use these as opportunities for people to re-engage with their communities. And so when we did this testing, when we tested this and deployed this throughout a few of our communities, we found like that over 60% of people said that they would come to an event as a result of this type of technology being available. They felt more engaged with their community and with the content that was being shared. And so this is what it's about. It's about
Yeah.
like resident engagement and connecting with the people around you and feeling like having a sense of belonging as part
Yes.
of your experience living there.
On a much smaller scale, whenever I'm teaching my Zoom classes, I always put the captions on because I know that that's how we are all watching TV, especially my students are watching TV with subtitles and captions on it. And when they come to one of my classes, they know they're going to be able to understand and hear what I'm saying because those captions are on there, which I think is huge. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So tell me about some other type of technology. You mentioned robotics and you also mentioned using Alexa. Let's hear about those.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like one project that we're really excited about that we've just wrapped up on is with a company called Bear Robotics. And Bear Robotics is a startup company that started producing dining robots. And some of us may have heard about dining robots. They're kind of beginning to kind of catch our imagination. And during the pandemic, we had our many of our communities were experiencing just starting to come out of like of being in lockdown and slowly began opening up their dining rooms, and we kind of like felt there's a different kind of pressure here, right? Like we're competing with the hospitality industry and like just having enough people,
Yeah.
and we're also like finding that there are just different pressures, when it's different pressures versus pre-pandemic, when it came to the dining experience. And so we started like looking at how we can look at dining robots as a way to address some of these challenges. And we learned through a 3-month pilot in a couple of our communities. We did this at San Francisco Towers and another at Casa Viñana, in La Jolla, and we learned that over close to 2/3 of our residents, the residents who are actually within the community, thought that the robots actually improved their overall dining experience because
Wow.
they were these robots were delivering meals and trays
Hmm.
to the tables where servers were then able to kind of take them off the table and put them in front of residents, and they were just delighted.
Hmm.
When we first did this kickoff, like people were taking cell phone pictures of it with selfies and sending to their friends and family members, and it and in part this was all part and parcel of an important like messaging campaign, because you don't just put a technology in front of someone and just expect it to start working, right?
Yeah.
Like technology always happens within a cultural environment, and we have to prepare people, right? And we have to manage expectations. So like our messaging was like, our servers are overworked, and they're very stressed out
Yeah.
and they're anxious, and we want to improve your dining experience, and this is what robots are going to be here to do, which is to shuttle trays back and forth between dining room and your tables and help them better serve you. And we really found that the results reflected that. And so we're totally excited about this, and we've just completed a white paper that we hope to release pretty soon,
Hmm.
and that we hope to see more of these dining robots throughout Front Porch communities.
Yes, because they really do save the staff in many ways. So, and people always say that the robots are there not to replace the human interaction or the human experience, but to save on routine tasks, right? Yeah.
Could you read our white paper, Addie? Because that's precisely the messaging that we want to convey,
Mhm.
and it's truth. It's absolute truth, because one of the concerns that we've heard is like, oh, well, what are now our dining services are going to be taken over by robots, and we're not going to be provide food or service by people anymore. I said, no. That's that's not what we want to do. What we want to see is like to actually increase that quality of service, so that the servers are there with you
Yeah.
and providing that one-on-one engagement that's so important to everyone's well-being, right?
Yeah.
And so we've been finding more and more of that, and we actually found on among the employees that we found that about 58% of people of the servers who are working in our dining rooms with alongside the robots said that they actually allowed them to spend more quality time with residents.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
up almost by 50% from the start of the pilot. So we saw like tremendous engagement when we asked them like, okay, well, we're kind of wrapping up on this project with the robots here in your dining room. Um, how would you feel if we took them away? And they were like all terrified. They said, you cannot do that, right? We need these robots. They're important to our delivery of service, and we need them.
Yeah, think back to COVID, and I'm just curious, was there ever a way that you innovated something new during COVID that you didn't expect for it to take off the way it did? Maybe that was in telehealth or using robots, or even, you mentioned a robotic pet. So was there something like that that comes to mind?
Yeah, well, I think that one of the things that really surprised us, like during COVID, was like the adoption of screen-based devices.
Hmm.
And we got a small grant um, through the state of California's CMP funding process, which is the um, Civil Monetary Penalties Fund, that provide us with the equipment to purchase devices, and we bought Kindles, we bought iPads, we bought Amazon Echo Shows, and we deployed these devices into skilled nursing facilities,
Hmm.
and the amount of use that we saw in within our communities for these devices, not just to listen to music or like go on YouTube, but to connect with family members and with friends was really compelling. I mean, we were floored. We saw people like having video chats with family
Yeah.
members who normally would not do that. We saw this increase like just dramatically, and just kept on the adoption rate just kept on increasing throughout COVID, and so we were pretty surprised with that. And we also saw just generally a general overall adoption on the use of technology, but it was really primarily for those who already had access to those technology tools, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just could not get enough devices out into people's hands for them to actually effectively use them and engage with their social networks.
Do you ever work on the education end? Because even though there's a desire to use it and obviously a desire to connect, I find that there's always this education piece that can be missing with some of the newer technology.
Education is everything. Education is everything, and education is training, and it's all part of the adoption, and it's all part of the overall like arching goal of engagement.
Hmm.
And so we do workshops in when it's appropriate, and whenever we can, we try to do it virtually. We try to do it in person. And as far as like what the content is, as far as the content is concerned, it's not just about like teaching people how to use their device, like here's the on button and here's the home button and whatnot, but it's also like helping people like learn to use their devices responsibly. And so we
Hmm.
actually have like an education program called the Peers Project, which is also available on our website for download, which is a toolkit that teaches cybersecurity and internet safety.
Ooh.
And as we have like more and more people adopting these technology tools, we need to show and provide them with tools in order for them to use the internet responsibly, and for them to know what to look out for. And we also provide reference links to all the amazing work that AARP is doing, and groups like Oasis. And we really try to kind of compile all that into a toolkit, again, that you can download from our website, that's free to use, and it's like workshop ready. And because we found that this is like one of the biggest barriers to adoption is like people just being terrified,
Yeah.
right? They're just told, don't click this, don't open that, don't open that email, right? Don't touch that attachment. Like don't, right?
Yeah.
But we really want older adults to engage as digital citizens, and
Mhm.
but just simply for them to do it in a responsible way without scaring the bejesus out of them, right?
I am really passionate about that topic, but I'm going to try to focus this on caregiver and on workforce support. So what other devices, what other technology have you found has really helped your the employees, the caregivers, the staff? What other technology is in place for that?
Yeah, so there's another initiative that we're working with UC Irvine
Mhm.
and their gerontology workforce enhancement program, and they are developing a platform to provide CEU credits and uh, and education training around um, medication management, like communication tools,
Mhm.
falls prevention.
Mhm.
But one of the most important topical areas we believe when it comes to workforce development among CNAs is self-care
Okay.
and how you manage with a stressful environment,
Mhm.
that and a demanding one, and one where there are fewer, trying to do more with fewer team members, and so we're finding, as you see it, in most places, that it's just really stressful. There's a high level of anxiety, and so
Mhm.
we're working with UC Irvine to virtually bring these programs to our CNA workforce, to provide them with the tools to not just better understand how to care for an older adult population, but also to care for themselves, which is an important way to kind of manage that stress.
Yes.
So they're doing this through like care kits, and they're providing like really important uh, methods and approaches to like meditation and making sure that they kind of create a space for themselves,
Mhm.
so that they'll be recharged and ready to go back out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to take care of yourself so you can take care of other people, right?
That's right.
And I
Hmm.
didn't read that anywhere in any white paper. I'm just saying that. So, also, you mentioned fall prevention, and does that have to do with sensors inside people's homes?
Um, yeah, sure. I mean, like, falls is a pretty complicated space, right? I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into falls, and we've been looking at a number of different technologies where we're kind of like having some conversations with some solutions that are using cameras. There are some that are not using cameras but are using sensors only.
Yeah.
Um, uh, like we're pretty interested in, like, for example, like what Stat Care is doing, with non-camera based passive sensor technologies. We've been looking at Safely You as a really important way for us to see with our own eyes, like how a person ended up like on a floor, for example.
And
Where
let me interject for a minute and focus on this question and see. So, how is the workforce adoption in these areas? Have you found? I know that the residents were thrilled about the dining robot, but what about the workforce adoption? Is it something that they're leaning into, or are they looking at it as a unnecessary tool?
So, you mean, okay? So I think that I understand your question. When it comes to the workforce adoption of
Mhm.
technologies,
Mhm.
um, uh, it's it's really important to have them be a part of the adoption. So
Mhm.
when we introduce these dining robots, for example, to our dining staff, they of course were a little skeptical,
Yeah.
but when we like share with them our intent, or like, after listening to them and hearing some of their struggles and some of their pain points, when we listened to them, they said, like, I don't have enough time to spend with my residents, because I'm just
Mhm.
running back and forth between tables. And like, this is one of the things that we want to address. We want to see if this is actually going to help you. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, that actually could be interesting, right? And they start to kind of open up. And so
Mhm.
when we respond to those kinds of needs, that's where the adoption sort of begins. When we're looking to see how this this specific solution will, for example, like cut down on your trips to the kitchen, so that you don't have to be running back and forth. How these devices, how these robot technologies can actually help you bust your table, and like you just
Yeah.
hit a button and then you send it off on its way to dishwasher. Like these are the importance of adoption is making sure that we're responding to pain points that
Mhm.
they're going through, and provide them with the necessary training and support. And so we believe that any technology will work. However, and of course the
Yeah.
technology has to work, but it's important to kind of lay down that cultural foundation in order for people to accept that this is a part, not just part and parcel of their work, but it's going to be something that's fun and
Yeah.
actually enjoyable and helpful.
Right. It's not going to replace them. It's
That's
just
right.
going to help them do their job better. Right.
Hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so I have a question here. Let's see. Christine has a question about Front Porch and about the founder. She would like some information about that. Front Porch is in Los Angeles, right?
Well, I mean, our headquarters are in Glendale,
Mm-hmm.
California. It's a little bit north of Los Angeles, and but we also have another main office in the Walnut Creek area in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have, right, again, we're throughout the state where we've got impact, not just in California, but we've got a few communities outside of the state, one in Arizona, one in Louisiana, another one in Florida. But like our bread and butter is really here in California.
Okay, and I wanted to also ask you about what you're looking forward to. What are you working on right now that you're really excited about? You don't have to tell us everything about it. Just give us a little idea of what we can be expecting.
Yeah, yeah. So like we're thrilled about some of the work that we've been doing around voice,
Okay.
like Amazon Alexa platforms that are specifically designed for senior living communities.
Hmm.
We've seen some initial results, and we're pretty excited about it. And we're even doubly thrilled about smart home integration. And Front Porch was among the first senior living communities to actually formally pilot this within a community with like tremendous engagement, several years ago. And we know that it's come leaps and bounds since then, but there's still like some pretty cool things that we're looking forward to coming down the
Give
pike.
me an example.
Well, like, so one of the things that we're really looking forward to is seeing how we can have an like a one-stop shop where we can have like content and content management and fleet management of these devices, screen-based devices
Hmm.
that basically is going to be functioning as the platform to manage content and communications. And so, it wasn't really up until like a few years ago when like all these voice-based devices were just really primarily only valuable to our residents when you use a consumer version. But when you're dealing with these at 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 times at a time as a provider, as an operator, it's hard to manage all of these, right? So we really need to work with companies and startups and solution providers to come up with a way that's really simple for senior living providers such as us to be able to use these products in a way that's effective and really promotes engagement with our residents. So
So
being
I
able
have
to like,
a little gripe with that, just because I'm working with people all the time, residents who say that they've got these dots or they have these shows inside their homes, but they can't add skills to them. So they don't want to use them, or they're not adopting them as much as they could if they could customize them a little bit more. Is there any? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, you're not alone in that. I mean, like these are one of the small but really powerful features that are so important to our residents, and we've heard that. We've heard many people say, like, oh, it's great that that we have this on your software, on your platform, but like I can't go connect this with my other skills I like so much. And so these are some of the things that we hope that these providers are going to be able to work through, because that is the direction, right? That many of our residents and communities want to take us. They want to live things their way, right? They want to live with these technologies, with these, and then alongside these kinds of solutions in a way that's important and meaningful to them. And so I think that the tides are rising, and there are enough of us who are kind of making these sorts of important demands on behalf of our residents. And so I think that we're getting there, and we're struggling, but we're all getting there.
You're persevering. You're persevering, right?
That's right.
So, Davis, I want to thank you for coming on the show. When people have questions and they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
We would love for people to contact us through our website. It's fpciw.org. FP as in Front Porch CIW, Center for Innovation Wellbeing, .org. And we have our impact stories. We've got our case studies. We've got our contact information there. And we love sharing our story. We love talking about some of the studies that we've conducted and the impacts that we've done through some of these pilots. And we just want to get these lessons out there so that others would be able to replicate and have you do them on your own. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think I typed this in incorrectly, so correct me if I'm wrong. Did I type
that
in? I got
it.
Okay. All right. Great. So I just want to thank you for coming on board today. I love everything that you're involved in. I think it's awesome. I can't wait to see more. And thank you again for coming on the show. And I will go ahead and run the intro. Thank you, everyone who has participated today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your engagement. I'm so thankful that you're here. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back here next week.